this week we have Parshas Mishpatim and Shekalim. And I think the 3-year cycle is reading Shekalim, right? The 3-year cycle also says that this week is Shekalim. So one of the funny things I discovered last time I was in America, I was learning this just with my Chavrusa sent me a message. He wants to know when I'm coming to America. We were learning the last parak of Megillah. And it says the first of Adar Mashmiim al Shekalim, right? That's the first of Adar. And then the Mishnah also says, and that's, you read the Megillah on the 14th of Adar. And then you read more in other Mishnayos, like in Megillah, where it begins. Actually, when do we read the Megillah? There's a few days a year we can. Yeah, you can read on the 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's actually a whole slew of days. So when the Mishnah first said you read the Megillah on Purim, it was Lav Dafka. Okay? So too, it turns out the Gemara assumes that when it says Mashmim al Shekalim, we announce everybody give your Shekalim to the temple, your half Shekalim to the temple on Rosh Chodesh Adar. It's Lav Dafka because the Gemara at the end of Maseches Megillah assumes that what? The reading of Parshas Shekalim on Shabbos, which is always on Shabbos, Parshas Shekalim is supposed to be on a Shabbos, that is what counts. That's what gives people enough time to give them to prepare to give their shekels, their half shekels, to the temple, which means. Yeah, the Shabbos. No, it's Shabbos. Mashmim al Shekalim means the reading of Parshas Shekalim in the shul, which is either Shabbos before Rosh Chodesh, or it's the Shabbos that is Rosh Chodesh Adar or Adar Sheni, as it works out. So sometimes it's actually Aleph Adar when Aleph Adar is Rosh Chodesh, and Aleph Adar is always Rosh Chodesh when Shabbos. And the siman that Aleph Adar is Shabbos is that you are going to have that's actually quite rare, because if Adar starts on Shabbos and Adar is always 29 days long, it means Rosh Chodesh Nisan will be Sunday in a one-day affair. And in that case, when Rosh Chodesh Nisan is Sunday, it's when Pesach is Sunday. And as you know, that's the rarest outcome. Zatu Bog Dad Uyu. That's a different thing.
אז כשראש חודש ניסן חל בשבת, ההפסקה היא בשבת תצבע, זה ט"ו, וגם בזה גם תצבע?
Yeah. How does it go? Zatu Bodad Ubiu. That tells you, what does that siman means? It means when, it's the Zatu siman.
אז מתי קוראים החודש? קוראים לפני, החודש קוראים בסוף, ויש הפסקה גם בזה וגם תצבע.
No, Zatu just tells you the day that Rosh Chodesh is. Rosh Chodesh is Zion, Shabbos. So there's going to be Avsak on Tesvav, the day after which is the day that they keep Shushan Purim in, supposed to be most cities around Israel. Okay, so now we know that we're on the same page now. So get your Shekalim ready. And I thought that's just something, that's a point that I like to stress. We're going to be reading Parsha Shekalim. This is the fulfillment of the sage's announcement. Wait a minute, the mitzvah only applies when the temple's standing, right? Correct. You're not supposed to set aside a half shekel for the temple fund. That's pretty bad. That's like making kachim. Don't do a thing like that, as long as the temple's not standing. However, the fact is, sages made this takana, and we still do it today. It's not a zecher for anything. It's the actual takana that they told us to do, which means that we're supposed to be focusing and remembering that the temple needs to be built. In this week's parasha, at the end, we hear about the end of Ma'amad Har Sinai, because Parshas Yisro begins with Ma'amad Har Sinai, and then there's all the Mishpatim, and then you get to the end of it. Go. So, Hayom, today, there is no mitzvah of Chatzi Shekel. Okay, the Mezecher Matzah Shekel is not even a Takana D'Rabbanan. It's not a mitzvah D'Rabbanan, it's just a minhag. I'm talking about the real mitzvahs. Today there is no mitzvah of Chatzi Shekel, and don't do it. Yeah. The Chat Machatzis a shekel? It could very well be, yes. It's a mitzvah. I think, according to the Rambam, for example. Yeah. Where is it? Do we have a Zmanim here? Here, I'll put it up on the screen. Now we're investigating this. Here. Here, look, I have Mishnah Torah right here. We're going to pull it up on the screen. This is in Sefer Zmanim, in Shekalim. So Here's how the Rambam has it.
בכל אופן, למה זה היה הולך, מחצית השקל, אחרי בניין בית המקדש?
No, there is no, once the, wasn't Achrei Binyan Beis HaMikdash mean? Once it was built,
בזמן המשנה, כשהיה בית שני, למה היה הולך השקלים?
Korbanot Sibur. Korban Sibur. Okay? Mitzvahs Asay Achas, V'hi Litain Kol Ish Machatzis Shekel B'chol Shana. So according to the Rambam, there is a mitzvah every single year to give machatzis. I have it. Okay, you can hold on to that. The problem is, Shekalim is in Zmanim. We learn Avod on Korbanos here, so we wouldn't have got to this. The Rambam says as follows. Yeah, so the Rambam says, yeah, and that's the way the Chinuch says also. Mitzvahs Asay Min HaTorah Litain Kol Ish B'Yisrael Machatzis Shekel B'chol Shana Wishana. Okay, there's a positive commandment of the Torah that every man of Israel give half a shekel every year. Told what? Afilu onium is parnis minat staka. You have an onium is parnis, if you can't afford it, you should still give it. Okay, and he should borrow from someone else or sell his possessions in order to even the clothes off his back. He says that. Mocher kasus sha'al kasefo. Okay, his expression, the Rambam is not don't sell the shirt off his back; it's the shirt off his shoulders. Okay, and yeah, there you go. That's because only Bismana Mikdash. The Rambam holds, like we saw before, that even though you can still bring korbanos today, we have a mitzvah to bring korbanos of makriv and afilu she'ein mikdash or with shelo b'fnei abayis. Welcome, gentlemen. That there is still certain commandments that do not apply when the temple is not standing. For example, we saw bikurim and machatzitz shekel. So there's no mitzvah to do bikurim. You're not supposed to set aside bikurim. However, so where are we going to bring the korban tamid tomorrow? Tomorrow we need to do a korban tamid. Where are we going to get the money for that? So the answer is bedek habayis money. Where do you get bedek habayis? Whenever anybody donates stomp to the temple, you can give it to bedek habayis. Oh, and we saw something interesting. The word sorech in Hebrew. This is a little bit of diktuk time. Tzadi reish kaf, that's shoresh. What is it? That's a very common one in Hebrew. Ani tzarich, and there we have make a bracha on the shoes. It's called sorki. That's my tzorech. Is that a Hebrew shoresh? Apparently not. How many times in the Bible? At last time I checked, how many times in the Bible do we have that shoresh tzadi reish kaf? Not even the Aramaic sections. It's once in Divrei Yamim, in the end of Divrei Yamim, well, the middle of Divrei Yamim. Divrei Yamim, as you know, is written after First Temple times. It's a Second Temple era book. So it basically, when you compare certain sections of that book with, let's say, the Book of Kings, you find it has more Aramaisms than the Hebrew, or it has more Ketiv Malay and other characteristics of later biblical Hebrew or Mishnaic Hebrew even. Why? Because the Aramaic influence, Jews who came back from the Gullus. So that's what makes it stand out. So in a passage that's a longer version of what you can find in Sefer Malachim, it says that there's a tzorech there. So tzorkecha, King Hiram of Tyre promised to give Solomon all that he needed to build the temple. Tzorkecha, the wood that he needs. So where does the tzorech come from? It's obviously Aramaic word. Why? Because when you have the word bedek, okay, when you have the word bedek, or what's that came up in this week's parsha? There's whenever you have it all in let's say Yechezkel and other places. There's the shorish bet dalid kuf, like bedek habayis. What does bedek habayis mean? They're checking the house, like bedika. No, bedek in that case means the necessities of the Beis HaMikdash. What does the Beis HaMikdash? What does bedek habayis serve? The needs of the temple. So that is the targum of the bedek. Okay, the targum of the word bedek in the Navi. Whenever you heard that shoresh bet dalid kuf in the Navi, the targum Yonason has it as tzorech. Okay, so that's the sign. That's we know that when it shows up in Divrei Yamim, it's an Aramaism. So how are we going to bring korbanos nowadays if we don't have a Beis HaMikdash? We need, how much does a lamb cost? Guys, anybody here ever buy a lamb in its first year? How much does it cost? I don't know. Let's say it costs 200 shekels, a young lamb. Where are we going to get those 200 shekels? There's no machatzis shekel. The answer is get it from bedek habayis. People can donate money to the general temple fund, and we'll use that.
We would like to encourage our viewers to share these videos with friends and send in your responses. If you would like to obtain Birkon Nusach Eretz Yisrael or invite the rabbi for a speaking engagement, please email us at office@machonshilo.org.